Welcome to the Cult Classic Horror Show. Every week, you can have the conversations you've always wanted to have about the films you love.
Shut up!
We're gonna get you. We're gonna get you. Not another peep. Kinda
Get rid of your distractions and prepare yourself.
Won't then lock your door. 5, 6, got crucifix.
You got a big surprise coming to you. You're not going anywhere.
Welcome, everybody, to the Cult Classic Horror Show. Danny Bonin here with you guys.
Scotty Bonin with you guys.
We are the Blood Brothers and
Carmelo Chimera.
and we're missing the fabulous Rob this evening.
We tried.
Rob is back.
We tried. Yeah, God forbid. You guys, we have been trying to schedule this episode for 3 weeks straight now. No joke.
Yeah.
We're behind on releasing it. We've been trying to do bi-weekly lately.
Should have been released 3 weeks ago.
It has been rescheduled at least twice, and we just had to do it and see who could make it. And we thought Rob might make it. Maybe he still will. Maybe he'll hop in. I sent him the link. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But here we are.
He's been down in the swamps of Tallahassee picking up some extra head of work and work for his parents. Head of work, helping his parents
is that a thing?
out a little bit. So he's been busy in the swamps during the week and not a lot of time on his hands.
Yeah.
So.
We just before we jump into zombie.
Just one copy back. My son's coming in. Let me tell him I'm recording.
We just got back from Horror Hound Weekend.
Horror Hound, man, it was fantastic. What a great time.
And we didn't. Now I'm sort of wishing we stayed the whole time. We flew in. Well, we flew in. Carmelo drove in, and we had a screening of Name the Demon, which is coming out October 4th once again.
I think it went great, guys. Don't you?
Oh,
Yeah, it was so
awesome.
much fun. It went really good.
It's hard to know how people are going to perceive your film. And when we got the final cut of this movie, I was sort of in my gut. I'm like, okay, this is probably the best movie on a low budget level we've made. And but I'm not sure. And it's been sitting under wraps for so long, and now people are starting to see it. And we've just been getting the most nonstop positive feedback ever. And now it's made me just super excited about everyone seeing it. So can't wait for you guys to watch it.
Yeah, countless influencers and reviewers and trailer reactions are coming out, and everyone's like really, really freaking out over it. And it's like I was telling someone the other day, look, I made it. I know what goes into a horror movie. I put that in the movie, but it doesn't scare me because I did it. And and then the same scene that I like know what's happening, someone else watches it and they're like, holy shit, that was terrifying. And I'm like, okay, I guess it worked. Like, you don't know if a joke's funny unless the audience laughs. It's like that,
It's been awesome, the feedback. Carmel and I guested on Behind the Screams podcast the other week, which is the guys who run SuperCon, which Carmel will be going to next in a week or two.
South Dakota.
2 weeks, because we're all going to be in Chicago next week. If any of you guys listening want to come watch the movie in Chicago, let us know and we'll put you on the list. It's a private premiere
on the big screen.
18th.
The 19th.
19th. Thursday the 19th, yeah.
Thursday the 19th.
And you should let us know soon, because we sold out the theater once, so we got a bigger theater, and now that's almost sold out.
There's already over 100 people coming, so you got to be careful. Yeah.
But I cannot wait now for you guys who are listening to see the film, even if it's not until it comes out October 4th on Amazon, Google, iTunes, wherever you can rent movies. Can't wait for you guys to see it. So.
Yeah,
awesome
I think
feedback.
It's going to be fantastic. And we're going to do, not to get ahead of ourselves, we're going to do an episode next time to talk about the movie and our experience filming it and give you guys some teasers about it. And, if everyone likes it and is interested, maybe we'll even do like a live commentary one day. We'll see.
Yeah, I think we're on track for that to be actually our next episode after this, because, normally we'd be releasing one, on like the 1st. And,
so it'll come out right before the movie. Hopefully, pique your interest.
Some Easter eggs before the movie that you guys can tune into before you even watch it, or after you watch it.
Yeah.
Either
way. And then we will do a live commentary later in the month of October, maybe for our Halloween special.
Oh, interesting idea! I like that.
Yeah. So
it was kind of funny, Carmelo. You were saying how you don't get scared. Like I was watching it with you guys, and my heart was thumping because I was like nervous and excited at the same time watching it in the screener room, the world premiere in Cincinnati at Horror Hound. And but I was telling you guys the night before we flew down from Denver to Cincinnati, I had like a nightmare about Name the Demon because I was like thinking about the movie and this and that. And, I had like a pretty good nightmare. I couldn't sleep, and I woke up freaking out a little bit, and it wasn't about Name the Demon, but I was just thinking about it. So I think it put that in my head. So man,
it's one of those.
It's scary.
It is one of those. To finish what I said before, the Screams from the Basement guys said that they had to check every room before they went to bed that night after they watched the movie. It was put them on edge. So it's getting great feedback. I'm very excited. You guys got to watch it. So.
Yeah, we're definitely proud of it. I think you guys are gonna.
But
if you like horror like we like horror, I think you guys will love it for sure.
Yeah. Horror Hound was great. There's so many talented vendors there. Awesome shirts, films. Carmelo got some goodies. We got some kids. We got the kids some horror T-shirts. It was awesome.
Yeah. That was a great time. I look forward to future horror conventions because it was a real blast.
Yeah.
We may have to booth at them sometime.
Be fun, actually. I think that we've got shirt designs, and we could do a live podcast and stuff.
Yeah, we could sell our films that we have so far. And,
it's a great idea, actually.
We could come up with all kinds of stuff to feature at the booth.
Oh yeah,
it's a good way to reach the hardcore fan base, right?
Carmelo thoroughly offended Tom Atkins personally.
No, Carmelo was breaking Tom Atkins' balls. Then actually, then he broke your balls at the very end. There,
he did. My balls were broken. He called me a jagoff twice.
He did call you jagoff face to face. Carmelo asked Tom Atkins if he indeed did or did not fuck a robot in Halloween 3, and he did use the word fuck a robot, and there were 9-year-olds in the front row
which we didn't
looking lovingly up at Tom Atkins.
We were
I should have known, and I told him this. I should have known that he was a beloved children's hero, and that there would be a lot of young people in the audience at Horror Hound Weekends, Night of the Creeps panel.
The best part about it was that Tom Atkins is basically deaf now because he's 80-some years old.
85.
And so Carmelo asked the question over the microphone to the panel. Tom Atkins didn't hear a thing, which then I think Jessica Whitlow is her name from Night of the Creeps had to lean over to then repeat in the Tom Atkins ear, "Did you fuck a robot in Halloween 3?"
Yep.
He was vehement that he did not, in fact, fuck a robot. That it was a real woman with real woman parts. I think he said.
Yeah, he did. He was very animated with his answer though.
He was very.
But the best part is that we ran into him on the convention room floor afterwards, and he called Carmelo a jackoff twice, but then lovingly
he was joking about it though.
He was, and then lovingly caught up with us again and told us some random stories from his past. So it was great.
It was so funny. Like we were walking by him, and maybe we should
pointed at me.
He did.
He's like, and then he pointed at Carmelo before we could even walk over there. You! I'm like, oh shit!
I had a weekend.
Yeah, we saw Tom Savini too, and it was great. We met Tom Savini, and
Tom Savini looked like he just wanted to get the hell out of there, but we talked to him for a minute.
Yeah, it was a good time for sure. So,
all right. So anyway, if you guys are in Chicago next week, let us know. Come watch the movie. Come hang out with us. If you are in Sioux Falls, South Dakota the week after, let us know. You can come hang out at SuperCon and see Name the Demon there if you would like. So
yes. And we might do a Denver premiere too. So,
and if you're randomly in Toronto, Canada, the week after that, you can see it at Toronto Indie Horror Festival, which none of us will be at, but it will be there.
Yeah. But we'll do we're doing a Q&A, and then I think we're even going to go out drinking afterward in Sioux Falls after the.
Yeah, I'm still trying to see if we'll see.
You gotta let me know. I got a long drive ahead of me. It looks like I'm driving now.
Are you gonna drive?
I just can't justify flying when it's
they're expensive. Yeah.
Well, they're expensive, but it's like a 6-hour flight with a layover somewhere, and it's like
an 8-hour drive.
It's like an 8-hour drive, and I'm like,
It's nuts.
save like $300 drive.
Yeah.
And
8 hours is a while, but it's not too bad if you break it up a little bit.
I mean, there's places to stop along the way,
Yeah, it'd be good.
All right. Zombie. Lucio Fulci's
Fulci zombie. Yeah.
Here we go, man. We've been waiting
Here
to
we
cover
are.
this.
Yeah.
Pretty good,
Thoughts?
actually, huh?
Yeah. What'd you think?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I
Go ahead,
think
Carmelo.
it had a lot of that Italian film charm, that same like spaghetti western, bad dubbing kind of, but
Yeah.
it was good. It was like it was generally well acted, but I mean the plot was engaging, and the kills were really cool, and there was some good zombie action. And I liked the some of the opening shots of New York, like gave the movie a sense of scale, and the ending, not a twist ending, but there was a good ending that I thought was like, oh, that's really solid. Zombie was fun. I would even watch it again. I think.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. What do you think, Scotty?
Yeah, I mean, I thought to piggyback on that, I thought the only thing that held it back was the dubbing, but I knew it was an Italian film going into it, so I knew there would probably be dubbing, and obviously that's kind of the charm of it too. The voice doesn't match up, the mouth doesn't match up with the words and stuff, and that's fine, whatever. I kind of like the early 80s music, like the synthesizer and everything too. That gives it some old school charm too, for sure. But yeah, once it really got into it, and it's some great kills, great effects for being practical. And my favorite part was actually for shooting in 78 or 79. It came out in 79, so they probably shot in 77 or 78. The underwater shots were really good with the underwater scene. So that really surprised me for the lower budget and being almost like a 80s B horror movie. So, but yeah, I liked it, and like you said, I would watch it again. We saw some cool merchandise at the Horror Hound.
We did.
Paul Bearer Press had the most awesome zombie shirt I've seen, and I don't really wear graphic tees, but I almost bought it on the spot just to have it. So shout out to them. God, it was badass.
It had the best like eyeball, like wood splint going into the eyeball for the guy,
It was an
doctor's
awesome
wife that got so that was really cool graphic.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was good. The dubbing was a little in the way. I actually think, and I can't recall, there's been a movie or two that I think we've covered, or maybe it was a different genre that I watched where there is dubbing, but actually some of the actors are speaking English and some are not. And I think that was the case with this film as well. I think that you can look at them and tell that a couple of them were actually speaking English and saying the words that were still dubbed,
right?
But then some of them definitely weren't. So
yeah, and I think that's what happens with some of these Italian films is they would cast English or American actors who might have more international appeal or notoriety, and then hired a lot of the other parts local, right? But then they have to redo the entire audio track anyway, and it's almost like they don't care or it's too hard to match it. Like it's a bad ADR for the English actors, but for everyone else, it didn't matter anyway because it's like they weren't paying attention to the lips.
It may have been like New York Ripper or something else that was Italian that we covered.
Or I don't know if Suspiria did or not, but
that was similar where some was dubbed, some was.
Yeah, I think like New York Ripper and Pieces, I think were both Italian giallo films that did that. So
I actually wrote down the very first line of like the Coast Guard comes on the boat and he says, "The boat can leave now. Tell the crew." And you could tell some English writer said that all monotone, and it did not match up.
Yeah,
even close to what the guy's lips were doing. It's like, oh, whatever, that's cool.
I liked it. Besides that, though, there were some good kills. And it was pretty good. So they had the old Land Rover. Rob's not here to talk about it. They had that awesome old Land Rover that they were driving around. Yeah.
But they stupidly drove into the tree for some reason.
I know.
Yeah.
We can get into that. Well, let's get. I guess we usually do the synopsis before the numbers, right? So let's. Carmel, you want to do just a quick run through?
I know you watched this like 3 weeks ago. But
it's been a while. We've been trying to schedule this for so long.
It was a little while ago now. I don't remember all the names, but the gist of it is this ghost ship shows up in New York, in the New York harbor, and Coast Guard tries to figure out what's going on. There's a zombie on board. It kills one of the patrolmen. But the owner of the boat, nowhere to be found. His daughter, Anne, comes looking for him, along with a journalist, Peter West, and they realize that he was on some island that and contracted some disease. He sent a goodbye letter, but then was never heard of again. So they take off for this island. They hook up with a pair of travelers who are on a sailing trip anyway, and they hitch a ride to this rather remote island where this crazy Dr. Menard is experimenting with zombies. He's experimenting with like voodoo rituals and the creation of zombies and trying to find like a scientific explanation. But it's spreading. The movie's not much more complicated than that. The group is attacked by zombies on the island while trying to find Anne's father, who is in fact dead. He was a zombie. Menard keeps putting him down. He does his best to put him down as they raise. He's kind of a scumbag. You get the impression he's maybe doing this on purpose to people. Certainly the father. I don't know if they ever really wrap that up or explain that, but it's kind of hinted.
He's trying to find the virus to cure it or something. But
he wants to cure it. He's not like trying to like spread zombies. And then they all have a great big fight in the hospital there. And finally, at the end, Anne and Peter are able to escape on their boat, only to learn over the radio that New York is now overrun by zombies because of the original attack. So that's Zombie 2.
Yeah, and it's the ghost ship that showed up and had a zombie in it that bit one of the cops and then got shot overboard. And so it was, it was never spoken of again. But then obviously it spread.
Yeah. So it's not clear if like I thought maybe the zombie washes ashore because he doesn't get shot in the head. He just like falls overboard. But also the patrolman gets like taken to the morgue and attacks like the morgue workers. So maybe it's both. I mean, like, but it's just, it's really cool how that comes back around at the end. They're like, oh man, no one's going to believe us. No one's ever going to believe us. And they turn on the radio and it's like,
it's all, they're already screwed.
I like the guy that got bit, man, at the very end. That was like he was kind of the one that like led the charge and like chopping the zombies and getting the gun. And of course he got bit. His girlfriend did it, man.
Yeah,
she just blew her head off.
He couldn't kill her.
Kind of has some it has like some like Dawn of the Dead feels too, kind of for it, like because they like run rampant after all that. Obviously, they take over the mall and stuff, but here's some numbers if you guys want.
Yeah,
numbers, budget. So this was in Italian lira. It was 410 million. Italian lira budget. That's 234,000 in US dollars. Back 1977, 78, 79, whatever. And then the box office was 3 billion lira in Italian, but that equates to 1.9 million in US. So they made a good profit on it. I mean, 234,000, 1.9 million. That's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. Okay, well, yeah, let's get into this thing. We have Tissa Farrow, who is related to Mia Farrow, I assume, as Anne Bowles, Ian McCullough as Peter West, who's really trying to hold on to that hair that he's got. Dr. Menard, Richard Johnson. So no one really of too much note, but the list goes on.
Mia Farrow is her sister.
Okay,
so that is confirmed.
Directed by Lucio Fulci, a.k.a. the Godfather of Gore. A little bit about him for a second. Fulci was born in Rome in 1927. He dropped out of medical school to pursue a career in film. He worked as a screenwriter and assistant director with names like that I don't really know, but if you're an Italian cinephile, maybe Steno and Riccardo Freda, before releasing his debut feature I Ladri in 1959. But his most notable films include the Gates of Hell trilogy, as well as Massacre Time, One on Top of the Other, Beatrice Cenci, A Lizard in a Woman's Skin, Don't Torture a Duckling. I mean, there's a lot that I've never really heard of. The New York Ripper, we covered that.
Yep, he did New York Ripper. Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah, so, so while films like Zombie 2 garnered Well, okay, technically, and we'll get to that. Zombie 2 is the technical name of it in Italy.
Yeah, I was wondering that.
Yeah, because they're trying to make it a sort of a sequel to Night of the Living Dead without stealing Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, Italian copyright law allows you to market any film as a sequel to another film. So,
Really?
yeah, or at least it did back then, anyway.
So that's what happened. This was like supposedly the unofficial sequel to Night of the Living Dead.
I saw maybe this is different, but Wikipedia says serve as a sequel to George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
Or maybe it was Dawn of the Dead.
So so Dawn of the Dead
Dawn
was
of the Dead,
released
sorry.
as Zombie in Italy.
Yep.
No, it is. So I'm about to get there. Zombie 2 was marketed to European audiences as a sequel to George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, there it is.
Which was released as Zombie in Italy. So
Oh, really? Okay, so that's why.
Italians knew Dawn of the Dead as Zombie, Zombi. And this was then released in Italy as Zombie 2, Zombi 2.
It was just a year later because Dawn of the Dead was 78. This was 79. So interesting.
Yeah. So we'll move on to production. So producer Fabrizio De Angelis. I can't do it. Maybe Carmelo can do all the Italian accents.
Fabrizio De
Like Mario accents.
Fabrizio De Angelis.
Originally wanted Enzo G. Castellari to direct the movie, but
gonna be our most
Castellari,
Our most culturally sensitive episode yet.
Oh my goodness. You can just say him as a blue-collar American.
believed he wouldn't be the right fit for a horror film, so he turned down the offer. De Angelis then turned to his second choice, Lucio Fulci. Screenwriter Dardano Sacchetti. You have to say that with an Italian accent. You have to say Sacchetti.
Sacchetti. Dardano, what a name, Dardano.
Yeah, Dardano Sacchetti.
Sacchetti.
That's a strong name right there.
Yeah. That's a strong name.
Well, he said that screenwriter Dardano Sacchetti said that he wrote the script with the intention of returning to classic zombie tales. He began working on it in July of 1978 with the title of Nightmare Island.
Ooh.
Despite the violence and gore, Sacchetti wasn't really setting out to make a horror movie. What he really wanted to write was an adventure story with a horrific setting. The result was a dash of Robinson Crusoe mixed with a heavy sprinkle of voodoo magic and exposed organ.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, in December of 1978, Variety Films gave the script the green light and a new title. Zombie 2 was marketed to European audiences. Again, sequel, George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, Zombie 2 in Italy. Yeah. So, but interestingly, Fulci's Zombie 2 was written before Dawn of the Dead was even released. It bears no real link to Romero's film, as we've seen. It doesn't really take it into consideration at all.
Yeah.
But when the producers realized how successful Dawn was, they added opening and closing scenes set in New York to tie the two projects together.
Damn.
Yeah.
That must.
That bookend is actually really cool, though. So I'm here for it.
It did.
That
It added a lot.
Yeah. That must mean why it earned like several times its production costs back then.
Yeah. So Dario Argento, who actually helped produce Romero's Dawn of the Dead, I guess, was less than pleased with the idea. He filed a lawsuit and attempted to have Fulci's movie confiscated.
Oh.
Yeah. When they went to court, Team Lucio's lawyer argued that the word zombie could be found in 18th century texts and therefore was not an original word subject to copyright. It was a convincing argument, and it ultimately won the case for Fulci and De Angelis.
Oh, good.
Does that sound legit, Carmelo? I don't know.
Yeah. So in copyright and trademark law, right? Copyright exists to protect original works of creative expression. So there has to be original. So if it does kind of predate you, then you didn't really create it. In America, you can't copyright things as short as like a title. So like, for example, the movie Star Wars is copyrighted, but Star Wars is trademarked, which is different because it's meant to signal the origin of goods or services, right? So the question is, can you trademark something like zombie? And what happens is you have things like Band-Aids or Kleenex or escalators is a big one. Escalator was a trademark name. but now that's just what we call them. And what happens is it becomes genericized. So once it's genericized, you can't get the trademark protection anymore. It's like no one even remembers what escalators were called now. I don't know them by any other name.
I don't either.
That was a brand, and it was
That's crazy
brand, and they lost the trademark. Yeah. Now we all know about Kleenex and Band-Aids, but like escalators is one that's becomes so genericized, we just accept it.
Holy shit! Yeah.
Yeah. So
moving stairs.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it has to be like electronic moving.
You can't say escalate. That's so crazy.
Yeah. So, zombies probably the same thing. And it doesn't sound like it was that argument. It's because it's under Italian law, but it's a similar concept is that, if you have a title like Dawn of the Dead, you could trademark that. You could put it on shirts and you can sell it. If your movie's called Zombie, if your movie was called Vampire, you probably aren't getting trademark or copyright protection for it because it's too generic.
It is, yeah. Totally.
See, we don't even have to have a segment called Phone and Attorney because there's one on the show.
Every podcast needs one.
We had the phone of the nurse or the doctor though.
Phone the nurse.
Yeah. phone a nurse. That's right.
Oh yes. Well, during pre-production phase, writer Dardano Saccheri's father died. Yeah, his dad died.
We were having a lot of fun at his.
I know we were until his dad died. Well, the grief,
which happened 50 years ago anyway.
Yeah.
Sacchetti himself
dead by now. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Well, the grief and unexpected loss weighed heavily on his mind, and he ultimately asked for his name to be removed from the credits. So having just confronted the idea of death in his personal life, he no longer wanted his name attached to the film where the dead walked among the living, only to be killed a second time. So they missed out on having Sacchetti in the credits. That was too bad. So filming took place from June 11th, 79 to July 6th, 1979. According to several cast members, Fulci was extremely difficult to work with.
Oh, man.
Yeah. When a fan asked Richard Johnson what his first impression, now Richard Johnson played, let me just.
Dr. Menard.
Menard.
Menard. Menard.
Yeah. Okay.
Menard.
Yeah. So when a fan asked Richard Johnson what his first impression of Fulci was, he responded with, "People's first impressions of Lucio were varied. Some people loved him, and lots of people, maybe not as many people, loved him. Those people were afraid of him."
Okay.
Johnson went on to recount a time where Fulci became so angry with an actor, he threw himself on the ground and started eating handfuls of dirt while saying, "I eat either the earth or I eat you."
Jeez. Why? That's frustration right there. Goodness. I can just see Carmelo doing that when he's frustrated with us on set. See?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Eat the dirt.
Except he just grabs the nearest cock and shoves it in his mouth. I eat this cock or I eat you.
Yeah. You just ripped my pants open, man.
Yeah, I mean that's how I got Scotty to perform for Name the Demon. I just constantly going down on him.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to sacrifice to
because I
get that performance.
I wouldn't listen to what you were saying. And he finally got me to do it. Yeah. Exactly.
That's very true. Now, Al Cliver, who played Brian Hull in the film, and again, I watched this 3 weeks ago. I'm now forgetting all these characters.
Brian was the guy that was my favorite that died from his girlfriend biting him.
Yeah. All right.
His girlfriend, who anyone noticed, loved running around naked in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, and she scuba
There had
dived.
to be nudity.
And she loved to scuba dive naked with just like a little G-string on, man. God.
Yeah.
There had to be nudity. There had to be gore. You know what? A little off topic. When we covered Night Beast and the guy that played the doctor, we talked about him and his little crush on the girl in the movie. But he kept bringing up the point that, this movie had gore. We had to have gore. And I think it sounds silly to us now, but at that time, whenever they made Night Beast, 80 or whatever, what it was, 80, whatever. And, I think that was fairly new, and so you had to have it for audiences to clamor to your horror film. Gore was new with Friday the 13th, the original, and you didn't see all these graphic kills before that. So that was interesting. I know that there was Exorcist and stuff slightly before. Well, Exorcist was early 70s, right? So, but again, you're not seeing these gruesome kills in it.
Right.
But anyways, so Al Cliver said Fulci was known to treat women badly on set. He's quoted as saying, he really hated women, especially the bimbos. He hated this kind of woman, and he was violent with his words and all his power as a director. And he even humiliated them. I don't know why. I know he had a very difficult personal history with all the women in his life, so maybe it was for this reason.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, yikes!
Some little dick energy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
are like that. They just hate women because they got like broken up with in high school, and they're like forever hate women. I don't know.
See,
maybe so. And then he became a director, and now has these like porn stars he can boss around at a whim. You know?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Wow. Yeah. So, but Ian McCullough described Lucio Fulci as having great respect for the English actors such as himself and Richard Johnson, but that he shouted a lot. It seemed to me that he always had to pick on somebody. I've always described him as a bully, and that's what I think he was. End of quote.
I guess,
Yeah.
I guess you back in the late '70s, you could be a bully, and they probably just took it. But nowadays, it's
you wouldn't
like,
get away with it these days.
It wouldn't fly. Yeah.
No. I mean, most of the extras in the film had no cinema experience, and Lucio Fulci would get angry with them if their performances weren't realistic enough or didn't quite match his vision.
Probably those Coast Guards.
Yeah, well, for example, all the entrails were made from animal organs, which is fucking gross. Gino De Rossi's wife was a chef, so she cooked the organs to make them safe for human consumption.
Oh, God.
The problem, the extras were totally grossed out and would try to spit the meat out between tasks. Lucio demanded that they swallow it instead because that's what an actual zombie would do. It's fucking nuts.
Fuck.
They've made animal entrails, quote unquote, safe to eat and are expecting the extras to actually eat them.
I mean, what type of animal are we talking about? Are we talking about like a cow? Are we talking about like a dog? Are we talking about?
I don't know.
Like if it's like steak, I mean, okay, but like if it's like they just went and like killed like a horse in the back, and it's like half like cooked. Oh my God.
I mean, it's just nuts. Gino De Rossi was in the makeup department, by the way, if you were wondering. So his wife is the one.
I was actually surprised. The makeup looked, I mean, compared to I'm comparing it to Dawn of the Dead, like no offense to George A. Romero, Dawn of the Dead, but I thought the makeup in this might have been a little bit better. Like, I don't know. It just seemed, obviously like the close-up shots for some of the zombies, the makeup had to be on point. But for even some of the ones that were like walking and staggering in like groups, the makeup was pretty good for this.
Yeah. Well, here's a little bit about what I was talking about already with the dubbing, the English, the Italian. So half the cast only spoke English, while the other half spoke only Italian. To solve the problem, the directors would shoot the movie without sound and then record a few dialogue tracks in different languages. However, since the actors were either speaking different languages or trying to say their lines phonetically, it's nearly impossible to synchronize the dubs perfectly, obviously. If someone's speaking Italian and you're trying to dub English, and vice versa. There's people speaking English and they probably dubbed Italian this was an Italian release first, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a pain in the ass there.
Oh man, I couldn't imagine the Americans dubbing Italian, and then the Italians for dubbing the American, are English, not American, but English to Italian.
I don't think they were American. It was British actors.
Yeah, British. I saw that
English actors.
Dr. Maynard was Scottish.
Yeah.
So wow.
Okay. Well, so makeup artist Gianetto De Rossi, once again, applied the zombie special effects in several layers and stages, which prompted the Fulci to begin referring to the extras as walking flower pots.
Oh, okay.
Most of the makeup was achieved with simple materials like clay and tomato sauce.
Really?
You leave it to an Italian team to just use tomato sauce for blood effects on the zombies.
Keep putting on that clay, clumping more on there. Yeah, more tomato sauce.
My wife, she's got the tomato sauce at home.
Yeah,
slap it on there.
They made a whole pot of tomato sauce.
But it's not tomato sauce, Carmelo, right? It's gravy.
That's right. Nana's gravy. Exactly.
It's gravy, just like pizza's pie, right?
Right, exactly.
I can't believe they use tomato sauce. That's like as
Well,
like,
of course they did. They have it in abundance there.
Yeah. Carmelo's dad made some Italian gravy while we were over at his place shooting Name the Demon,
Oh,
right?
dude,
Didn't he?
well-
He made that pasta and
That's right. Yeah.
his
exactly.
homemade Italian gravy.
Yeah, that was one thing about Name the Demon, man. We had some first-rate craft services.
Dude, we had
was
some
delicious.
great food. The Giordano's pizza, the homemade pasta.
Jesse was a little out of luck being a vegetarian, but we still
did our
supplied
best
some.
for her, yeah.
Yeah,
the Jim's all Italian beef.
There's no
sandwiches.
room on an Italian set for gluten-free vegan people to be eating.
Yeah, there's really not.
Carmelo makes good. You make the good tomato sauce too, just like your
Well,
dad's
thank
recipe, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in my blood. I just know how to do it. So, and
you
then
made it in my house
it's
a
helpful
couple
because
times.
if we ever are doing a horror movie and we run out of fake blood, whip out some pasta sauce.
Pasta
Dude,
sauce.
now we know.
I make it by the
Fulci
stock
did
pot.
zombie.
I freeze it in quarts for whenever.
Do you really?
Oh, just when I need a quick fix, Sometimes you
Do you have some frozen right now?
sure do.
Really?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have? We're
Would you
going
like
out
some
there next
pasta?
week. I wonder what we're having when we go there. We gotta. There's so many things to have that we're not there long enough to have the things we need to have.
It's true. Yeah, I couldn't possibly
Yeah.
feed you all the Chicago treats in
No.
one visit.
No, not happening. We always
Portillo's,
like to go to
Jim's.
Connie's though.
Yes, Connie's. Oh, I think we have time for that. Yeah, we can.
We may have time for that, but
Connie's pizza.
so. Anyways, the zombies were modeled after the voodoo legends from places like Haiti and the Caribbean, which gives them a unique sort of look. Unlike most zombie films before it, the undead in this movie walk with their heads down, their eyes closed, and their arms dangling at their sides. It's also one of the first films that presented zombies as fully rotting, gruesome corpses. And they're like those, they're more traditional, very, very slow moving zombies. But I did think if you guys noticed, most of them had their like eyes closed, and that was probably just,
Yeah.
I'm guessing that was to save on effects and contacts and things like that, but maybe he truly just wanted them to have their eyes closed.
Yeah,
don't
maybe it looks a little more real, creepier with the eyes closed, not as like cheesy, too.
I don't know, but it was just sort of weird. It was like, they all just have their eyes closed. A few of the zombie actors were brothers. They looked so similar, even in full makeup, that many people assumed they were all played by one person.
Oh my goodness!
You guys
I don't
ever had
know.
that problem, do you?
Yeah. Oh no.
We're lucky that we don't look alike. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Of course, you put some zombie makeup on us and some tomato sauce and clay, we might look alike.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. We sound alike.
Yeah.
Sort of.
My
Scotty's
voice
got
is
a little bit of a little
I
bit
have
deeper
a little
voice
bit
than
lower
me.
voice. A little
But
bit.
then I have a slightly bigger penis, so that's how that.
Yeah.
That's how
I
that
got a
played
lower,
out.
sexier voice. His penis is bigger.
I will say Scotty is a more surprisingly much rougher lover. Danny is a more generous lover than you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really,
Like a jackhammer.
I
Dude,
think of your
I'm
I
rough,
really,
baby.
I
I'm
really
rough.
think of your well-being.
That's how I like it.
That's right. Danny wants to know you're enjoying it. Scotty just uses you just to get.
Dude, I use you. Pull your hair. I mean, I have no hair to pull, so I take advantage of the hair I can pull.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, stuntman and actor Ottavino del Acqua. I
Ottavino de
think
Acqua.
that's Italian. I don't know.
Wow.
That sounds
Well, he played the famous worn-eyed zombie.
from the
He's-
poster.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's so good.
It's
so
a good. It's a good one.
That's
Yeah.
very
Love that poster, man.
He said the basic zombie makeup took about an hour. For more elaborate scenes with close-up shots of Wormy, I guess is his pet zombie name. He could expect to be in the chair for at least 3 to 4 hours. Those worms did stay stuck there for
Dude, those
just
are like real
the whole
maggoty
time.
worms, man.
I bet they
like-
were. Yeah. So just before filming, the special effects crew would hand sew the worms together like a gruesome garland, then attach them to the mountains of clay covering his face.
Oh God, man. And there's teeth and stuff. I'm looking at it right now. It looks freaking really good.
I mean, it's the cover shot. It's great.
Yeah.
The fake blood contained a small amount of ammonia, which was meant to prevent it from changing color. It often dripped into the actors' mouths, and they would quickly spit it out when the cameras were off.
Jeez.
This is stuff you can't get away with these days. It was the golden age of filmmaking when you could berate women and put ammonia in actors' mouths.
and make them eat entrails.
Yeah. They literally make them eat cooked for safety animal entrails.
Yeah.
Who knows what that even means? Like what they're eating, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna talk to like an extra on this movie set if they're still around. See what the hell happened.
Well, when makeup artist Rosario Prestopino, I'm sorry,
I'm not offended if that's
It's
what
too
you're
fun.
worried about. Yeah,
It's so fun.
it is fun. It's fun to talk like this. We like
Yes, well, when Rosario Prestopino was asked about the infamously
Glorioso.
I'm saying all these fucking words.
You're turning into an Italian.
Yeah, infamously. So I think Rosario played Olga Carlatos, right? So when she was asked about the gory scene of Olga Carlatos getting eaten alive, she said, Fulci managed through effective staging and Sergio Salvati's excellent photography direction to make everything so realistic that Olga, after reviewing the scene, ran away to the dressing room in the throes of crying. And the now famous scene of the penetration of the splinter of wood into the eye, we made a this is like total run-on sentence quote here. She must just, this was her practicing English, I guess. We made a cast of Olga's face from which we obtained the mask to which the eye was applied and pushed it against the splinter.
Dude, that's the iconic scene, the shot of this whole entire movie. Besides, like the poster, like that's the iconic scene.
And that was the shirt. I might order it now online. Seriously, I should have just bought it at the fucking convention.
Yeah.
It was it's just I hesitated because I just saw this movie for the first time. It's not really necessarily even one of my favorite movies, but the fucking t-shirt was just so perfect that I was like, oh,
I can see why it's a cult classic. I mean, it's definitely it was good.
Yeah.
It was good for sure.
Well, we'll talk more about this because speaking of the splinter scene, that was really hard to film. Lucio had a very clear picture of the effect he wanted to create, but executing it required lots of planning. Since they would need multiple cuts for the scenes to work, cinematographer Sergio Salvati suggested using multiple camera positions at as many angles as possible. Doing so would give the editors plenty of footage to work with in the event that an imperfection or mistake occurred, since they only had the time and materials for a single take.
I mean, yeah, you made that prosthetic head, face, eyeball, like you got to do one take.
I mean, here it is. A replica of her eye was made from plasticine, also known as mortician's wax, which is typically used to reconstruct the natural features of someone after they've died.
Jeez.
My uncle was a mortician once, and side story. And Scotty and I, were you with me? We used to. My cousin
down there.
My cousin lived up. My cousin and his family, my uncle's kid, lived above the mortuary here in my hometown because he was the mortician there, like the resident mortician, and they had a little house on, like a floor. The top floor was a house.
Sure.
And so we'd spend the night every now and then. And one time we snuck down and looked through. Now the door had like a vent in the bottom of it, like for airflow between rooms. And we peeked through it and we just saw him just whistling, having a good time, just embalming a body. And it's just in the garage. There's hearses parked. I mean, my cousin lived there for a couple of years at least, I think. I mean, what a magical experience for children. We were probably in second grade or something.
Third, fourth grade, maybe.
Yeah.
Enriching. An enriching
experience. Probably 8 or 9 years old. I think we didn't. Did we go in after he left? And
I don't think we
see
went
the body. No,
that's part of the dream you had the next night.
Yeah.
No.
But that was a very old building, the mortuary, and I remember their house upstairs being pretty old looking, and it's almost just out of a movie. I mean, you live above a fucking mortuary.
Dude,
it's
like dead people are living underneath you.
Yeah,
essentially,
they're there. They're just there. So
it's still there today.
It is still. I think they've remodeled a lot of the building and added on to it, but it's still there. So, anyways, the eye was made with plasticine, known as mortician's wax. The iris was hand painted, and they inserted 2 tubes into the eyeball that would burst when the splinter pierced it. One filled with egg white and one filled with blood.
Huh. It looked pretty good.
Genius.
I mean, you could tell
I loved it.
It was great.
It looked good. It did for being a prosthetic head and made it of all those things you just said.
Yeah.
Man, the shot,
scene,
they pulled off.
they did. That scene and a lot of the stuff at the end, like took what was like an okay movie and really made me think, oh, this is pretty good. The effects were really, really cool. Yeah.
It elevated it. The starting from that point on and towards the end, it did. It turned the movie around. At first, I was sort of like, this is a little slow. This is a little bit the dubbing.
Yeah,
even the shark scene was pretty cool, but like there were some things like his makeup was coming off, obviously, and
you could see.
Stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, but then that eyeball thing happened. That sort of sealed the deal. I was like, all right, I'm on board.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, Salvati strived to make the zombies as ugly as possible. The makeup itself was great, obviously, but he felt that he could add even more of a sinister vibe. He achieved that by playing around with lighting techniques, filters, and telephoto lenses. He often illuminated the undead faces from below to create strong, harsh shadows. Additionally, he suggested that Fulci film from a distance and zoom in on the main characters, which left the extras in the background unfocused and blurry. So while your eye, it's trained on the primary action, you subconsciously register the figures lurking around and looking decent. Fulci did have a cameo in the movie. He plays the newspaper editor while filming on. Yeah, so he's at the desk in the office there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
While filming on location in a busy New York office, the crew accidentally interrupted a meeting Rupert Murdoch was holding, which got them promptly thrown out of the building.
Oh shit! Oh god, man.
Who's Rupert Murdoch?
Rupert Murdoch owns Fox News, or did I think until recently. He's one of those like 6 people that controls all the media in the world.
Of course.
Yeah, he's an especially conservative one, which is why I like Fox, and some of those networks all kind of lean right. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, at one point during their time in New York, Captain Haggerty, the actor who played the bald zombie that attacked the harbor patrol. I mean, does he go by Captain Haggerty? It's like,
I would.
That just sounds like some out of Step Brothers. You have to call me Captain Haggerty. Well, he decided to have himself a drink. He walked into a punk bar, into CBGB's, actually, covered in fake blood and still wearing his full makeup. Apparently, everyone else was dressed so outrageously that no one spared him a second glance.
The hell?
Yeah, so not much of a story, I guess. Set designer Walter Patriarca, yeah, built the mission/church from scratch.
We can do better than that. Patriarca.
Walter
Patriarca. Yeah, that's good.
We built the church from scratch. After it was completed, Lucio was extremely pleased with it, but Walter felt it needed a little something extra. He felt the church looked too normal and unassuming, so he did what any rational person would do. He called in a bulldozer, had them push the whole building over. Just enough, though, to give it a tilted look without actually making the whole thing completely collapse.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And the mission... Yeah, then, quote, he said, "The mission is abandoned," he explained in an interview. What could be more abandoned than a tilting building? Nothing.
So they built it and they wrecked half of it.
And then he tilted it. He just pushed it enough so he didn't wreck the whole thing.
So it was filmed. So that was that. Obviously, some of it took place and filmed in Italy. I wonder. Obviously, most the New York shots are in the beginning, but then most of the film was on the island. Quote unquote.
I believe so. Yeah. Well, I'll talk about it right now. So,
okay.
Rene Cardona Jr. was supposed to play the underwater zombie, but had to back out last minute due to illness, or maybe he just didn't want to deal with the shark. So CGI obviously didn't really exist at the time, and the budget wouldn't. Yep. Oh, we're going to talk about
that shark bite. Yeah.
And the budget wouldn't really allow for Jaws level animatronics. So a real tiger shark was used for the fight scene.
Dude, that's badass.
But not just any shark. This was a wild shark the crew caught themselves after several days of searching the waters around
You're kidding me.
Isla Mujeres, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
In an interview, Gianetto de Rossi said the hardest part was finding the shark. We stayed there for 2 or 3 days waiting for the shark to take the bait that they had scattered around the boat. On the second or third night, the shark bit. They wore him out by making him circle around the boat. When they thought he was tired enough, they got in the water and 2 or 3 of them steered the shark around. They didn't know when he would wake up and come to and regain his strength.
What the fuck?
The shark's trainer, Ramon Bravo, filled in as the zombie instead. And since tiger sharks are one of the most dangerous species, Ramon took great care to feed it and pump it full of sedatives before the cameras started rolling.
Oh my god! So this was like a trained, like a guy that was trained.
That's trained to deal with sharks. And I did read somewhere else. It doesn't mention in my current notes. I did read somewhere else that he had like fish bait or fish chum, basically, that he was kept feeding it on the side to keep it distracted from actually wanting to bite him.
Oh god!
As they went around. And I also read that he had, and I don't know how they would accomplish this, but some protective layers under the makeup. I don't know if he had some kind of I don't know, protective vest on under the shirt and chest piece, or I don't know.
That must have been fucking hard to shoot. Like a wild shark, you get him, you sedate him, you somehow get him to swim around and follow the girl that's trying to swim out, and then you have to get the shark to bite you and blood to get drawn.
This was a wild time.
God damn! I mean,
sounds like a fun shoot to me.
That had to be hard to achieve, though. Man,
good lord! This guy was obviously free diving. He had that's crazy. It's crazy.
Free diving the whole time. I mean, obviously they probably did a lot of cuts, but he was free diving down there. Probably had to hold his breath for a couple minutes at least.
No, it turned out good. I think it's the most famous scene from the movie. I mean, people are just like, really it's an underwater fucking zombie shark fight scene.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
It was fucking good, man.
So on the day the Brooklyn Bridge scene was shot, the weather was cold and rainy. The actors had to keep themselves from shivering. The zombie scene. So this would be at the end when we, figure out that all New York's fucked.
Yeah.
The zombie scene stumbling across the Brooklyn Bridge were played by locals who were each paid $40 a day. Each person was given two $20 bills stapled together. This was to ensure that nobody was overpaid by accident.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's your
God forbid.
Yeah.
Mine ripped. Can I get another one?
As the living dead continue their aimless walk along the bridge, traffic can be seen flowing freely below it from both directions. It was less than ideal considering the fact that a national state of emergency is being declared and the radio station has fallen under attack. But of course, due to budget concerns, there was no way to stop traffic long enough to get like another shot. So it's got it flowing. As a matter of fact, the crew easily could have been arrested for filming without a permit above the traffic. The special effects team carried buckets of clay with them and had to apply it as quickly as possible to roughly 70 zombies. Motivated by the knowledge that handcuffs probably weren't super comfortable, the crew managed to get all the extras made up within about 20 minutes.
Wow. We had that kind of motivation on Sin Eater, man. We could have really used some cracking the whip on the effects on that one.
Yeah. All hands on deck. Let's get this done. 20 minutes, man.
Yep. Well, the movie was extremely gory for the time it came out. So in fact, those airline barf bags were given to moviegoers at the theater.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It was released unrated in America because the MPAA would have given it an X rating. Back then, it was easier to release unrated movies into theaters than X-rated ones.
Wow.
When it was released in Britain in 1980, the British Board of Film Classification would only allow it to receive an X rating if roughly 1 minute and 46 seconds of footage were cut from the movie. It was classified as a so-called video nasty and was considered a violation of the Obscene Publications Act. So, in other words, they ordered the movie to be altered and then banned it anyways.
Wasn't that gory?
I mean, back at the time, I guess. I don't know.
But 79? Like
79.
That's like Shining era. That's Evil Dead era. That's,
close to. Yeah, it is.
I mean, I needed I needed a barf bag for Poltergeist.
This is you European. Yeah, and Poltergeist, just to see shit coming out of an ass.
Yeah.
You might as well
European,
just watch
Italian,
Two Girls, One Cup with some demon chickens in the background.
God, dude.
When you're looking for video clips to share online, that's the one.
There you go. Well, despite all this, the film soldiered on. The cast and crew treated it as a badge of honor, and future releases used its nasty status as free advertising. When it was re-released on August 1st, 2005, the BBFC gave it an 18 rating with no cuts needed. So obviously things had changed a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coming to that, there's much more gore in films these days. There's a quote: "Psychologically, I don't think horror films incite violence or fear," co-writer Elisa Braganti explained in an interview. "Instead, I'm really convinced that they liberate negative feelings we all have inside ourselves, and they help us coexist better. Because you come out of these films knowing that reason won at the end of the day. And even when it doesn't, you come out knowing you're still alive, even when they're all dead."
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Sort of justification there for that. Zombie 2 was nominated for the 1981 Saturn Award for Best Makeup.
Yeah.
A couple critic reviews, a couple quotes. Slant Magazine, "Taken on its own terms, it works quite agreeably as a visceral blow to the breadbasket, with one of the most outrageous and apocalyptic final scenes in the entirety of the subgenre." I mean, nowadays, I don't know if that holds true, but
yeah, it's still
another one. "Beneath the video nasty hysteria lies a horror of substantial craft and skill, and its iconic synth theme is on par with the work of Goblin, whilst its rich cinematography makes the very most of the film's luscious locales."
Yeah.
That was Cineview.
Yeah, the cinematography for like the island and feel and the ocean was pretty good, and filmed in Italy there. But
another quote by Guillermo del Toro considers Zombie 2, Zombie, as one of his favorite films. Quote: "This is, if not his best movie, it's the most savage one of Fulci's," is what del Toro is known to have said. So that's all I got on Zombie.
I mean, that's everything. That was fantastic.
That was good.
Yeah, nice little film. It's nostalgic.
I did.
Yeah,
I loved it, man. There was a couple things like the sound effects too, where it's like the loud buzzing fly sounds that were a little over the top, but I kind of like that too. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a lot of buzzing going on there and dead bodies, and then like when he was putting the blood on the microscope, it was like a really, really big drop sound.
He was.
I'm like, wow, oh my goodness.
I'm with Carmelo though. I'd probably watch this again. I now have it on, a special edition on Blu-ray.
Kind of want to watch it again just because it's been a while.
Yeah. And there was some cool stuff, a lot of those things you mentioned. Yeah, that was there. But that location was awesome. The island was cool. His humble abode that wasn't so humble was an awesome location for the house. I mean, I'd live there.
Yeah.
And it had that old thing that these older movies have, the young but his young wife, and he's so old, looks like her dad, basically.
Very common in Italy, though. Very common.
No. It was good though. Yeah.
I saw here it was filmed in Latina, Italy. Latina.
Latina?
That's right. Yeah, maybe Latina. Latina. Okay. It's right on the coast there, the bottom, or I guess the bottom part of Italy there. So
no, good staple. So
yeah, it was fun, man.
Yeah,
it's definitely one I would watch. Yeah,
let's zip on to
check it out. Yeah.
What did you watch?
Yeah.
Besides Name the Demon at our own.
Besides Name the Demon.
Name the Demon.
Hound.
Watch it again.
A shout out to the short film that opened for us.
The Red Hourglass was a short film that showed before us that was really good.
Yeah.
We all enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The director described it as he was trying to do like Dario Argento meets David Lynch, and he nailed that.
Yeah.
As soon as he said it, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what you did.
Right off the bat, you see this big black widow crawling on the bed, and it's like, oh god. I saw Carmelo like his skin crawl right as that happened.
Carmelo hates spiders, if you didn't know.
We were eating our dark chocolate snow caps.
That's right.
Had our candy, and we had our Blair Witch Project graham cracker porter, and
that was good.
His whiskey gin, or what? Oh, you didn't.
I had the chocolate porter, and then we mixed them together, and we got s'mores.
At that point, I had Woodford Reserves on the rocks,
straight up. So
with a heavy pour.
So we were prepared with drinks and snacks for the screener.
That guy hooked us up.
Wow.
Yeah. But I can't believe it's over. We're not together anymore.
If only for a few more days. Then
only a few more days.
We'll be back as we belong together.
That's right.
I'm not
And
sure
we'll
I
do
watched
cigars.
anything else. Yes.
Yeah, have you seen? I mean, it's been a long time since the last episode, so you probably have. But
Oh yeah, I saw Beetlejuice 2.
ooh, how's that?
Oh yeah, that just came out.
It was exactly what you expect. It was Beetlejuice 2. It was the same movie as the first movie, just again. And if you like Beetlejuice, that's a lot of fun. Like
Nice.
it was,
Hell yeah.
it was zany and wanky, and Catherine O'Hara steals the show. My only complaint about the movie is Monica Bellucci's character. She plays like Beetlejuice's wife, and she's trying to kill him the whole movie. She affects the plot not at all.
Really?
Not at all. You think like, oh, this is like where the movie's gonna go. It does not. So I don't know why she's in it, but Monica Bellucci's in it, so that's nice.
Yeah.
It kind of balances out. Anyways, Beetlejuice.
How was Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton's terrific. He's back
So good.
back in rare form again. Yeah,
He's so good.
Yeah, he doesn't miss a beat. Danny DeVito's got a great cameo. So
Nice.
but yeah, I mean, with the baby, it's been harder to watch. Like,
Oh yeah, I bet.
and
Oh, for sure.
get to the movie. So
You are at the baby's at the age though where you can turn on anything in front of them and they won't know what the hell you're
you have no
watching.
idea. Yeah. So I've been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. So
Oh, nice.
maybe the baby will grow up to be like a neurotic Jewish man, but we'll find out.
Nice.
What about you guys?
Scotty, did you watch?
Yeah, I mean, I did some movie watching on the plane, actually, back and forth from Cincinnati. Watched Behind the Mask, the rise of Leslie Vernon, which is great. Found footage, of course, and
Which will be we're watching a couple of these. I should mention because we're going to be a guest, Scotty and I, on Aaron Garcia's podcast in a couple days. Front Row Negative, I believe. So you guys should check that episode out whenever it comes out. We're going to guest on that in a couple of days.
yeah. So that was one of the movies that we're going to be voting on or like whatever. But I'd never seen it. There was it was very funny and had some good kills in it and a very cool concept for sure. And then I also watched The Deep House, which was creepy and good. And there's some dark shots there, so it's kind of hard to see on like the plane because more than half the film is shot underwater, diving underneath this lake for The Deep House. But that was also a found footage that was very good. And it's funny, Leslie Vernon, it's found footage, but some of it wasn't. Some of it, it's like I'd say three-quarter found footage, and the rest is just regularly shot like a narrative. So
Right.
But both those were good. Yeah,
I watched. Well, because of this guest appearance we're doing coming up and voting, I had to refresh Hell House LLC 2. But because I was refreshing 2, I was like, well, let me just go ahead and watch the first one again. So I watched the first one and the second one, and I was like, I just watched the third one last night. And there's a fourth one, so I might just go ahead and watch that tonight. Just to, you just start, you can't just watch one when there's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
No, of course not. I want to watch the fourth one. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I haven't
and
seen it yet.
they're good. You know, they did a really good job with those.
was your favorite? Is the first your favorite?
Yeah, probably. The second one has very questionable acting, especially in the first 3/4 of it. It gets a little better when they're just scared and running around. But
Yeah.
I like the third one.
yeah, the third one is better than the second one. The third one,
Yeah.
do you remember them pretty good, Carmelo?
I do, and I remember the second one more or less just setting up the third one.
Yeah.
There's
It's like the first one's classic. It's awesome. The acting is great. The whole thing is great. The second one, again, acting, there's like a couple of them just really aren't good at all. And they do a lot of the newscast type stuff. But I was like, yeah, okay. They're like running throughout the whole film. Secondary to it is like they flash back to this newscast interview. And I don't know if I like that setting very much. And then, but yeah, the third one's cool. They bring like another attraction back to the Abaddon Hotel, and it was pretty cool. So I'll watch the fourth one. But then I watched In a Violent Nature, which actually a lot of people have been talking about, that just came out not too long ago, but just recently, like 3-4 days ago. It's now available on Shudder and AMC Plus. So I loved it. I thought it was awesome. It's a unique view on a slasher. It's from the killer's perspective. There's some absolutely brutal kills in it. It's very, very different, and I liked it a lot. So you guys should check that out.
I'll have to check it out.
There's probably been more, but because we haven't done an episode in so long, but I can't recall.
Yeah.
those are the main ones.
I also watched Crimson Peak, which was one I just remembered.
Oh, yeah.
So that I hadn't seen that. It came out in like 2015, and that was good too. A good haunted house flick, you know, with a little love story painted in there. So good cast too, of course. So
well, cool guys. I know up next we'll be doing. We're gonna do an episode just talking about the making of Name the Demon and that whole experience, and you'll get a lot of behind the scenes stuff if you care to know about how much fun we had and the ins and outs of what we went through making this film. There's definitely some stories, so it's not going to be boring, even if you don't care about that stuff. There's some awesome stories, and we had a lot of fun. So, so that'll be the next episode, which will probably we'll look to release it on time. Probably October 1st or 2nd would be our sort of our normal time. We're trying to get back in. Who knows what our normal time is, even more bi-weekly, because we missed a couple weeks. But
I think October 1st is the next. Would that be the next?
I think we would like record on the 1st, release it on the 2nd. So or
Just
at midnight on the 1st, you know. And or no, I think it's Wednesday at midnight we usually do. So it would be the 2nd at like midnight.
And if you haven't already, go check out the Name the Demon trailer on our Facebook pages and on our Instagram and so forth. And
you'll see Name the Demon profile on Instagram and Facebook as well.
So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
Later, guys.
Later.
Don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
Oh, yes. There will be blood.